Happy Tuesday, everybody. I hope you had a great long weekend. This is your market update video, and today is a special day. It is Tuesday. That's right, Tuesday, 2/22/22, February 22nd, 2022. Just a random fact, this day with all twos will not happen again for 400 years. That's 24/22. Keep an ear out. As feared, by the time this video comes out, so much of what happened last week and what will happen this week has been knocked off the front page by what's happening in Russia and Ukraine, and that's where we are, so we'll see how that goes. With all that happening and so much news coming out minute by minute, I'm going to leave that information to the reporters, but let's go ahead and let's recap last week and let's talk a little bit about what's going to happen this week. As I said, it's all going to be overshadowed by Russian news. At least that's what we think is going to happen. But it is still news. Let's talk about it. Last Monday, the market opened mixed, sold off early. Bullard from the Fed doubled down, remember I told you about that, on his aggressive stance on raising interest rates. As the European markets closed, the U.S. market stabilized. News from the inflation expectations in the New York Fed consumer survey actually fell for the first time since October 2020. And also the Ukrainian president came out and said that he does not think a full-scale attack will happen. Now, how right or wrong was he? We just don't know yet, so we'll have to see. The market was flat in the early afternoon, rolled back over as the U.S. moved all of its embassy personnel out of the Ukrainian capital. An attempted rally into the close fizzled out, and the S&P 500 was down 0.38% for the day. The Dow was down 172. The NASDAQ finished flat on the day, which of course is a big win for the NASDAQ. The week continued to bring a lot of Fed speakers, and I'm going to try to give you some more information on that before the end of the week. Tuesday saw a big indicated move up before the open into the PPI print. We saw good news developing on the geopolitical front, a hot PPI number, German-Russian meetings and statements that they wanted to avoid war. That was all news out there. We also heard reports that some of the Russian troops were returning to their base. Maybe that was not quite an accurate report. But into the European close, the S&P 500 held the early gains. Cyber attacks were reported out there. Economic data was a bit weak, but the markets held their gain, snapped a losing streak, and the S&P 500 closed up over 1.5%, Dow over 1% up, and the NASDAQ up over 2%. So just a quick note on PPI. Up over 9.7% year over year, above expectations, but it is not expected to change what the Fed is going to do and the stance that they're going to take. Wednesday, the big pending news was the release of those Fed minutes from last month. Any surprises were not hoped for. What the market wanted was clarification. And as they were released, they came out about as hawkish as expected. Not too many surprises. Economic data also was pretty good, including a solid beat from retail sales. Remember, I tell you about that every week, the importance of retail sales. The market pulled back at the open, then drifted sideways into the minutes. The market actually turned positive for a bit, but late profit taking took the market back down a bit. The S&P 500 closed just slightly higher on the day. Russian news brought volatility back on Thursday. Right out of the gate, the market kept dropping throughout the day, ended down over 2% on the S&P. NASDAQ down almost 3%, and the Dow was down almost 2%. Friday was full of news, not just the Russian-Ukrainian news, but also Fed speakers. Options expiration, along with all that other noise that the market between gains and losses had the market going between gains and losses all day. Options expiration took the S&P 500 to close down about 0.75% on the day. So that was so long ago. At least in the news cycle, that was so long ago. So this week will be a fight to see if we can get anything in the news except for the Russian-Ukrainian stuff. And Putin. So make no mistake, as I've said before, this will be the focus of the news. As I mentioned here, this will be a horrible event, and many people, unfortunately, will lose their lives, and it will be a short-term headwind on the market. The focus, though, will return to the Fed and the economy. Today and Friday, we're going to get some important economic numbers. Today will be flash PMIs from February, the first read we've got from that month. Friday will be the core PCI price index. Now, remember, I tell you about this all the time. This is one of the key matrix, the key data points that the Fed looks for inflation. Hawkish or dovish, we'll see what it comes out as. We'll also see a fourth quarter GDP read, but that's all old news already. Jobless claims, high frequency, but tells us what we already already know, which is that the labor markets are tough. We're going to focus on Fed speakers, Bostic, who's not a voting member, Mester, who is a voting member, both of them hawkish voices, and you never know who else is going to pop up. We'll look to get a better read on the economy and hope that we move away from the stagflation fear. Geopolitics, of course, will stay front and center. Now, Russia and Ukraine for sure, but don't forget also Iran. They're talking about the Iranian nuclear deal again and its effect on oil prices. And don't forget, China is now done with the Olympics, so we have to watch Taiwan and see what happens there. We hope we don't have to worry about that, but it is something out there. I'll stick to the markets and how all this noise will affect where they're going to end up this week. Come back on Friday for another planning video and watch out for special report videos. We live in interesting times. So have a great week and a great Tuesday.